Vetting, again, it's just that supports I-9 identity verification, so all the things you put on your job application pretty much is what they're going to support, along with the national agency check from the FBI. They're going to take a package, and it's going to pass this package around, and this is where how you vet that data and how that gets transferred from platform to platform is very important. Card management system will accept the package, and it will generate the credentials and write the card. And then issuance is where you're going to get the card once it's done. There's a lot of case studies out there from the DoD. Yes?
So as long as I can make really good fake documents to get past the I-9, I'm okay? If I can come up with a fake passport, fake state driver's license, fake birth certificate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Don't have an answer for that. I mean, we don't take bio data when you're born, unless you have one of those nice footprints, when you're a baby. I don't know if it would match now. Could try, though. It'd be interesting. PIV 1, just so you know, the rollout for this, October 27, 2005, came and went, and basically that just said, hey, we all have to have systems, and we know that we're in trouble if we don't. PIV 2 is October 27, 2006. The system has to be operational, whatever that means. Certified and accredited, and that is the standard government stuff, and then must issue a card. So you can imagine what a lot of agencies are going to be doing is on October 27th, they're going to be rushing across the line with that one card. And then they're going to say, we win, we're good. And I think they'll probably, OMB will probably be looking at them going, no, that wasn't the point. Full rollout in compliance by 2008. I'm hearing that they're thinking about pushing that, but it is an aggressive schedule. If you talk about the millions of dollars and the standards, I think there's only one card manufacturer that just came out of a NIST laboratory. And that's not going to make it. You're going to need 5 to 10 vendors for open source, for proper sourcing through GSA. And lessons learned. Kind of talked about some of these, but I'll go through them real quick. Understand your organization and its processes, especially for user provisioning. Understand what the business process is. You would be surprised how naive you are when you walk in as an IT or a security professional and you think you've got it all down, and then they introduce something into the workflow that makes you chase your tail or makes you iterate. That technology has to be able to handle that. Never build it and think they will come. This isn't Field of Dreams. If you try to build something and think it's the coolest thing since sliced bread and think that the developers will just come to you and the business people, they won't. You have to work with them on that. Identify first key applications. Build alliances with their development teams. Get involved with these folks' development teams. Get under their skin, figure out what makes them tick and what their methodologies are, and you'll be much more successful. Develop common integration models. When I was at when I worked for Marriott, I had 4 integration models, and I just put the book in front of application teams and say, here you go, pick one of those. If you want something outside that, then we'll have to talk. And generally, it fit. Develop service levels based on the type of integration, population to be serviced, and the frequency of the platform. You will have applications that have 50,000 users and are only accessed once a year. And so you have to maintain a performance spike and ramp up to that. Or you'll have applications that have 10 users and are used every second of every day. So you really have to do a lot of profiling to make sure you can adapt to that system. A lot of this is general systems work, but in IDM and security we kind of forget about that sometimes because we're a little detached from it. We just think about the policy and the principles. Understand relinquishing control of identity information is very difficult. Go and try to say, I want to take over the access to your database and watch what happens. You'll get vehement no, and then you'll get, well, if you can help me, and then finally their management will go, it's going to cost less, do it. Develop pilot applications with high impact. I talked about this. Start with a modest approach. Baseline your applications prior to this. I've had through my career about a dozen of these where it goes, hey, my application doesn't work, and the inevitable question was, did it work before? And they go, no. What did you think this would fix? This doesn't fix your transaction rate or the fact that your queues are blowing up or your database is undersized. That isn't what IDM does. Capitalize on role consolidation. You'd be surprised. I did role consolidation for a couple of organizations now. And you go in and you go, okay, your division is this. Here are your baseline roles. And this goes back to directory management and how you develop a directory. You get down to usually it's around 80% of the role is pretty much the same, and then you've got some nuances and attributes. That's just what I found. It's very interesting because I haven't really broke the model yet. You can always, you get a division together, they all perform the same business task, and they all pretty much share the same data. They just don't call it the same things or think of it in the same way. Observe and track innovation curves in the IDM platforms. understand what technology is in its relation to its development. If it's new and if it's exciting, that's great, but sometimes it's lagging in performance or full integration or support. I had an application where they said turn on single sign-on equals true or false in the config file. Well, the application was written by a company and then acquired by a bigger company that had a lot of reputation in programming, and it was true or false, and when I set it to, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Well, true had a space after it. So true effectively, when they were doing their search, was false because it was 5 positions they were looking for and not the actual word. It was amazing. That a company, of that caliber at that time, would, I won't mention the company, but it was very interesting to call their development team back and say, did you catch this one? And that leads us to questions. Yes, ma'am.
The one about the ID part, so all the wonderful attributes, picture, biometric, everything is there. What is the purpose of, where can you use it versus, what are the implications of it?
Sure. Well, they're coming up with those models. Initially, the picture, of course, will be, face-on validation for the security guards at the perimeter. The biometric data will probably be used for controlled access. I haven't seen any folks that are, like for instance, I go into DHS, I walk through with my card and it has my picture on it, put my stuff through the detection devices. Then I walk upstairs, but I have to use my biometric to get into the CIO's office. So they're doing, different levels of security based on the risk of the facility.
If somebody gets this card, if it was used only for, for one of those not so critical attributes and it was lost. So
what's the risk is the identity vetting right now is not going to go away. So I think that's going to stay around for a while. They're going to have face on until they get better methods to protect that information and to immediately notify that it's been, compromised. Because you're not going to be able to do RFID checking through a doorway or any of the contactless things where a guard's not there. Or you might be able to allow them into the front door, and they can stand in the lobby. But that might not even be good at some agencies. So, yes, sir.
How do you feel about the use or what a lot of people want it to be, the more use of biometrics? The concern that typically gets brought up is that once that is compromised, you as an individual are really hosed.
Yeah.
Because we can't change our thumbprint or our retinas, not easily.
Nope, you can't do that. And yes, the protection on those mechanisms has to be huge. I don't think it's particularly being approached as a
single factor.
I don't think that they're thinking about that yet. They're so embroiled in trying to develop these systems that I'm sure that there are folks out at NIST that are thinking about it. I'm sure that there are folks here that are thinking about it, but I don't think that the government at large has gotten past. I don't even think they know what to use the factors for yet. They just know that they need them. So they went, I need identity and I need 2 factors. So somebody told the president that. The president said, what the heck does that mean? Well, here's what I need. I need 2 factors. And so they went, well, what is that? And they go, biometrics. Okay, cool. Put that on the paper, and that's what we require. So NIST, that enables NIST to go out and fire up SPA 83 and all the other different biometric standards. It enables GSA to acquire biometric data. But the hard questions are the ones that you're asking that they haven't quite answered yet. Because they do that now in like the PKI world. They have 3 different certificates, for instance, on a DoD card. One of them is an identity, and it's just the identity of the card. It has no biometric data. They've stayed away from that for keeping that on the card. They just have you're vetted, and then they have an authentication, and then they have an encryption cert that gets escrowed. So in case you get run over by a truck, or you lose your card, they can actually get the data back at some point. But the encryption one is the only one that's escrowed. The other 2 go away when the card dies. They immediately revoke them. And there is a lot of questions about where that data is kept and why and how it's packaged. Any other questions? No?
Thanks.
Thank you so much.